What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about can Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden all make good teammates? So let's see what they have to say about that.
Imagine the Rockets. The Rockets, as much as D'Antoni's system and Morey and all that stuff, and the complementary pieces and the style of play, it's James Harden last year and Russell Westbrook, the two biggest components. Westbrook's issue is not a great shooter, right?
And Westbrook has a low basketball IQ. Don't forget about that.
Kyrie can shoot the lights out. And of course, he and Westbrook don't play the exact same style, but he's a super athletic point guard who can score like Russell Westbrook. The difference is he can shoot. Now put Kevin Durant on that team, and you see why.
Right.
It'd be murder.
So with that.
Yeah, so I can definitely see James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving definitely playing. My only concern is who's going to be the number one guy. I would choose Kevin Durant to be that number one guy because he's a 7 foot scoring machine that has a shot from anywhere. So he'd have to be my number one player. But that James Harden might have a problem with that. So if he were to go over to the Brooklyn Nets, they'd have to figure out who's going to be the number 1, 2, and 3 guy.
That being said, though, Stephen A., let's do the thought experiment. Harden does go to BK. Can they take the Lakers?
I think they can. I wouldn't definitively state that yet. I want to see what the Lakers do this offseason, who they acquire, because you don't know if Avery Bradley's going to stay. You don't know if Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is going to stay, although I think they will. Anthony Davis should definitely stay, but you know what? If you talk to Rich Paul or whatever, he'll throw New York out there. He'll throw Chicago out there. He's a businessman, and obviously, even though Anthony Davis is going to get the max, all things have to fall in line. And you got to remember, this coming season is LeBron's last year before he has a player option to decide what he wants to do with his future, whether it be in a Laker uniform or anywhere else. The man's gone from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland to L.A., so it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that he would elect to move, although I can't imagine him leaving this Southern California sunshine, because I just got back from L.A., as y'all both know, and I must say, it is a lovely, lovely place to be, as you two would know, since you both lived out there yourselves.
You
That's
dragged
a
me
hard
back
place
to
to leave.
Yeah, so that's definitely a problem that Anthony Davis hasn't immediately re-signed with the Lakers. That's definitely a red flag. But as far as the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving all play together, I can see them definitely giving the Lakers some problems. Definitely. I mean, especially if Anthony Davis is talking about leaving. If James Harden goes and plays with the Brooklyn Nets, those guys are going to be out of control. But again, like I said, someone's going to have to get less ball time. And it should all go to Kevin Durant. Then, I don't know, between James Harden and Kyrie Irving, that's going to be kind of tough to figure out who's going to do what. But if they do get together, they're all going to have to buy in into what position and role they're going to be playing in order to come up and beat the Lakers. And again, that's a red flag with Anthony Davis not re-signing.
Drag me back to New York, kicking and screaming, Stephen A. I was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air out there. It's the greatest place.
Well,
to live.
I would say this. You got to credit the bosses for that. I had no problem
I remember that.
with you
Steve
remaining
Nance, like,
in
let
California.
him live in
That
LA.
would have enabled me to be in California more.
Yeah.
I'm just not the boss.
Let's see.
You know.
Well, listen, you got no argument from me about LA, although I love New York too.
Yeah, definitely. We love LA. So definitely with Anthony Davis, not re-signing, I think what he's really doing is he's trying to keep the Lakers on their toes and you guys can't lose me if you guys don't play ball correctly. So I think that's pretty much what he's doing. I think he's going to re-sign with the Lakers, but he just wants to keep his option open and keep the Lakers on their toes. Because I can't imagine him going someplace else after you just won a championship when they're going to easily run it back. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Stephen A.
That's right.
Could they beat the Lakers? Sure, they could. I would actually make the Lakers play favorites here. I would say that there's continuity. I would think bringing in Dennis Schroeder, who just came off the best season of his career. People are like arguing, but no, he certainly had the best season of his career. He's playing defense. Schroeder was playing defense, and he was shooting the ball well. Right? With Schroeder, it's like, well, he played defense, and can he have a year where he hits his shots? Yeah, he's taking a bunch of threes and hitting them at a very good clip and defending. So you look at the matchup, LeBron over KD, particularly KD off an injury. I'd take AD over Harden. I mean, you could say it's close, but you could argue when you factor in health, the Lakers have the two best players on either team. And then Kyrie obviously over Schroeder, but I'll tell you what, Schroeder doesn't have chemistry issues wherever he goes. Kyrie does. I still like the Lakers there.
Well,
I don't know. He's definitely right. That is a matchup problem between James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving, between LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because the Lakers don't have a third man. They don't have a third All Star the way the Brooklyn Nets would if they had James Harden on there. And again, if they can all buy in and everybody plays their role, I think the Brooklyn Nets could be nasty if they add on James Harden. I'm talking about nasty. Definitely give the Lakers a run for their money. But first, they need to worry about getting Anthony Davis re-signed.
Listen, I don't blame you for that, and I might agree with you, but let's keep in mind a couple of things. Anthony Davis was a difference maker because he was so formidable defensively. A matter of fact, there were times when he switched off on Harden. There was times when he switched off and he was on the Joker, or he was on the perimeter guarding the Jamal Murray at times, stuff like that. Excuse me, what you gonna do with KD and James Harden? That ain't the same monster coming at you. I'm sorry. So as a result of that, how effective would you be defensively? And then let's also take this into consideration. They're the two best players in the world. If Kevin Durant is healthy, particularly on the offensive side of the ball with James Harden, are we sure that Anthony Davis and LeBron James is more of a dynamic duo offensively than KD and James Harden?
You know what's
that kind of change.
That would be very questionable, and a great thing to see James Harden and Kevin Durant versus Anthony Davis and LeBron James. That would be one heck of a matchup right there.
Is the dynamic a little bit. They beat you in different ways, but Harden and KD, and by the way, Anthony Davis guarding KD is a different animal because he's 6'11", like Anthony Davis.
Who's the point guard?
Well, I think he meant to say Kevin Durant, but I think he said James Harden. James Harden's about 6'5" all day, going against Kevin Durant or Anthony Davis at 6'11", but James Harden is like 6'5".
On that team, because you can make a good argument to put the ball in Harden's hands and play Kyrie, as great as his handles are, off ball, because Kyrie can really shoot.
Well, he can really shoot, but it's also about his temperament. I think that Kyrie is going to be far more receptive to listening to KD than he was to listening to LeBron.